Hi, everyone. My name is Georgette Truan. I am covering, I guess we're covering for Attorney Day, which is not going to be on the show today. Um, um, so we have Darren and we have Stacy with us. Hi, guys. So why don't you guys take it from here?
You want us to take it?
Sure.
It's true. That was a quick drop, Miss G. That was like that handoff you weren't expecting, right? I don't know how you feel about that, Stacey, but I was not. I thought we'd laugh a little bit. I thought you'd make fun of Mount Rushmore for a second. I mean, you know, some
I
live.
made
I'm traveling across the country here, and I've stopped at Mount Rushmore to get this good shot for the show. And here I
the
am.
shot that Stacy shared is a lot better than the one you have on, right?
Yeah,
That's the one that should be in your background.
yeah. Well, you know, I don't have access to that right this moment. But I'm here though. It's warm. Never been to Mount Rushmore before, so it's a nice place. It's a good symbol of America, you know.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, it's not a, you know, we're really starting to lose touch with what this country's all about, I think. And you know, we're the old days of apple pie and baseball and Fourth of July fireworks and you know Fourth of July parades and American soldiers and you know like all that good old camaraderie and good American feeling. Um, is going away, and so is the feeling of justice in this country too.
Yeah.
Um, you know, like Mr. Davis always says, like, what is justice anymore? Like, it's not. He always says it's not what we believe it is. You know, he said that when he went to law school, he had to unlearn himself, or when he got into the family court stuff, he had to unlearn everything that he had learned because CPS and family court is its own demon, right? Like that's what they are. The Constitution has no place there. Lies and the truth have no place in the family courts. It's all hearsay and I mean, it's all hearsay and lies, right? Not truth and facts. You know that they don't get those in the family court, and it's just you know what? It really stinks when you think back to the old days, the way this country was, and it's just whipped right by us, and everybody's just kind of let it go that way. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, what's the news today? What's the newest CPS story that anybody's heard?
Stacy can share a whole lot about that one.
Oh, yeah, Stacy, you got something good for us?
So,
Well, good, bad.
yeah. So I had an incident that didn't involve me. It's a case where a mother was driving a vehicle.
Uh-oh.
Stacy?
Okay, a mother was
There she
driving a.
is.
Sorry about that. A mother was driving a vehicle, and she was intoxicated and pregnant,
Oh,
and she rolled the vehicle, and there was another child in the car, and the mother is hospitalized. We'll just put it that way. This incident occurred in a state where the mother does not live, and the grandmother is an interested person in the child's welfare, and she showed up for the other child that was in the vehicle. So, what authority would CPS have to take custody of that child that was in the motor vehicle accident, absent a warrant or judicial order?
I don't think they have authority, in my opinion. I don't know if it, I mean, they should, their authority is to only get involved if the kids are in imminent danger.
and that
And,
might be imminent danger, though, right, Miss G? You think in a car
well,
accident, almost dying?
but
But the grandmother should have been able to leave the hospital with the
with
child.
that child,
Hmm.
There was
the
also
family should.
there was also suspected child abuse because they didn't know if the child had
Jesus.
Mongolian spots or bruises that wouldn't be explained by the accident.
Hmm. So that would be under the UCJJ, right? I'm pretty sure that would be under the.
What would it be under? I'm putting the spotlight on Stacy today. I'm sorry, Stacy.
But I think that that the grandmother should have been able to leave with the child, because any allegations would be hearsay. There's nothing to link the grandmother to any of it. She's next
Well,
to
first of
him.
all, are the kids okay?
Well, there was only one child in the car, and the one child is okay.
Okay, so that's good. What
But
about
instead they took custody of the child and had the child go to somewhere to be held for 24 hours with a forensic evaluation. But who really had authority to do that when they don't even live in that state?
I'm going to try to pull this up here. I'm going to pull this up because I think I'll have the answer for this. Not a legal answer because I'm not a lawyer. Uniform custody, martial custody. So that they think there's a lot of issues in there, right? Like there's probably a lot of things that people will look at for a long time. Like I would believe that you would have an imminent danger situation, even though the grandmother did step in. But what's the difference between getting a kid removed here and then grandma flies in from Pensacola, Florida? They still have to go through the proper steps, I would think, where the kid was put in imminent danger first, because the kid was in a car accident. So I would think CPS immediately would have taken custody of them. This is just my opinion. And then the grandma would have to step in.
I think they'd have to get a warrant. And how would they have jurisdiction when the girl doesn't even live in New York State?
Because there's an imminent danger situation. The car was crashed. The people are hurt. There needs to be decisions made immediately.
But don't they need a judicial order to take custody?
That, I don't know, but I would think that falls under, again, imminent danger. That supersedes every other rule. But
imminent danger, you would have to take before the judge and say this is imminent danger, prove imminent danger, and get a warrant.
No, they do not have to take that in front of the judge. Imminent danger, they can move on their own. Rules of imminent danger, they can act on themselves, they can rubber stamp, they can do whatever they'd like. That means an imminent danger situation means that they have no time whatsoever to remedy a solution. It means that they need to move and act right away without any haste, without any sort of that's the problem with the imminent danger concept. Like just because, like a kid that doesn't have a glass of juice isn't imminent danger. A parent smoking a joint in the other room isn't imminent danger. Like there's all of these things that aren't imminent danger that they're coming after our kids for. Things like this are, okay, the child was in a car accident. We need to do something fast. I mean, they don't know what the condition of the child was. They don't know anything that was going on. So my guess is that they would automatically supersede all jurisdictions because the mother's incapacitated. Someone has to be able to answer for the child.
So why can't it be the grandmother?
That I don't have an answer to. I don't know that. But was the child abuse thing prior to this, or was the child abuse investigation as a result of?
As a result of.
As a result of. Mr. Davis.
I know. That's why I was hoping he'd be on the show.
I mean, I'm gonna look up the custody universal custody code here and see what we got for that. Uniform Child Custody Jurisdiction and Enforcement Act. Inside of this document is what we will need. It's a matter of finding the document itself and finding what we need. To determine which state has proper jurisdiction to make an initial determination of child custody, the UCCJE proceeds in the following order of priority. There we go. It says Seymour. I don't know who Seymour is. Okay, here we go. To determine which state. Okay, uniform enforcement drafted by the conference. Yes, if there's substantial evidence, of course, those states. Okay, initial custody determination. To determine which state has proper jurisdiction to make an initial determination of child custody, the UCCJEA proceeds in the following order of priority. The state which is the home state of child or was the child's home state within 6 months immediately before the commencement of child custody proceedings if the child is absent from that state, but a parent or person acting as a parent continues to live in the state.
Yeah, so that would mean another state has jurisdiction over this case, even though it occurred in another state.
Okay, so
And
this says
they would have to get the judicial order or warrant from the state that the child resides in.
okay. Number 2, if no state has jurisdiction under number 1, then jurisdiction is proper where the child and at least one parent have a significant connection with the state, other than mere presence, and substantial evidence concerning the custody determination is available in the state. And then
So
there's
again, it would still be their home state.
And then there's number 3. If no state has jurisdiction under number 1 and number 2, jurisdiction is proper in any state having an appropriate connection with the child.
Yeah, but it's still their home state because they've lived there more than 6 months.
Well,
and that's where they have their
and then
connection.
it says a state having jurisdiction under number 1 or number 2 above may decline to exercise its jurisdiction and transfer it to another state if it's more convenient for the parties, or if one of the parties is engaged in misconduct necessitating a change. Home state is defined as the state in which a child lived with a parent or a person acting as a parent for at least 6 consecutive months immediately before the commencement of a child custody proceeding. In the case of a child less than 6 months of age, the term means the state in which the child lived from birth with any of the persons mentioned. A period of temporary absence of any of the mentioned persons is part of the period. So let's see what it says about emergency. Here we go. A state which does not otherwise have jurisdiction may enter a temporary emergency order if the child is in danger and needs immediate protection. After issuing such an order, the state court should determine if there is an existing custody order from another state in effect. If there is an existing order, the emergency court must allow a reasonable time period for the parties to return to the state having jurisdiction and argue the issues to the court with jurisdiction. If there is no previous child custody order in existence, the emergency court's order will remain in effect until a determination is made in a court having home state jurisdiction over the child. If no determination is made and the emergency court state becomes the home state of the child, the emergency order becomes a final determination of custody. So whatever that all works
I
there.
don't think they had any right to take the child.
Did they take it because of they thought that the kid had other injuries because other than the car accident? Is that what that was about?
Yeah, there was the issue that Mongolian spots might actually be bruises or Mongolian spots. They weren't sure. So they still took the child. But it's a far stretch to say that the grandmother can't take the child till that's figured out.
Right. I agree.
The parents have the first, the relatives have the first right to take the child. They can't just take the child from the complete family.
And the grandmother was there.
Yeah. So there's no excuse for them to say the grandmother wasn't there. Oftentimes they say to the judge that no relatives was available, or oftentimes they tell the judge the parents have no family. I've heard that so many times.
Could the grandma possibly get a POA because the daughter is incapacitated and emergency take over her her needs and her wishes when she's incapacitated, or was there one of those in place possibly?
But even if there's one in place, the state is higher. They can remove anything. They can take anything out.
They can, yeah.
If you have joint custody, if you have legal custody in family court, the state has the power to remove that custody from you because they're higher courts.
Right,
and
got it.
Family court is lower courts.
Mm-hmm.
That's why.
So I guess the bottom line is trying to figure out why CPS came and took them to begin with. And I would think that, well, I mean, I guess in my opinion, getting a drunk driving car accident with your child is very much so a bad situation to be in, which would necessitate the removal of the child from a dangerous situation at that point.
From that mother.
This is right, but that being said, they still now have to go through proper dynamics to get the child returned back to its family. Like you're going to have to undergo a 72-hour hearing now. I don't think the grandchild grandma can just come and pick it up. It's not like apparently the CPS people have already initiated some sort of a contact in a situation, right? So they're going to have to go through their rules and get their money from the 72-hour hearing and, get all the things that they got to do before, because they're going to say, grandma needs to have a complete, rundown of who she is, what she's about, a background check, all of these things. I would think. Again, I'm no attorney,
I don't
but it
know,
seems
because
that
then that means
all the things that I've
any
heard
babies,
in the past.
that would mean any babysitter,
Well, this.
any grandparent watching their kids, that they can just come and take the kids from them. I mean,
You have a
so
drunk driver. Well, the bottom line here is you had a child in a very bad situation. You had a drunk driving incident with a child
yeah,
in
but
the car.
I'm
So now
it's
the
not
child has been put in imminent danger. So the state comes and takes them, whether grandma's there or brother's there, it doesn't matter. The state's saying, holy Christ, this kid almost died because his mom was drunk driving him around. We need to remove this child from dangers. And even though the mom's incapacitated, it's clearly apparent that there are bad decisions being made. So CPS comes to remove them from that situation until the air can clear.
I don't know, because I still think it's wrong to take the child from the grandmother. I'm not advocating that CPS should have left the child in the hospital room with the mom the whole time she's in the hospital, but if the child is in the custody of the grandparent and next of kin, I think that they would have to make a petition to take the child from the grandparent and show cause that the grandparent's not suitable.
So the
that's why I
mother,
asked about the POA.
the mother was drunk, like she was drunk, or they suspect that she's drunk.
Proven.
Oh, wow. How old is the baby?
Toddler.
Oh, Lord.
I disagree with CPS taking kids as well. Don't get me wrong, but I can see in the situation where they stepped in because maybe they didn't even have anybody for grandma because mom's incapacitated. This is why Mr. Davis says all these things are important for you as a parent to have into place, like a POA, for instance, because maybe they don't even know what to do with this baby. Like, yeah, grandma came, but they had to make a decision immediately for the child to go somewhere. They couldn't just, the child had to be treated, number one. The child had to be treated. No doctor in there can just make that decision to treat a child. So someone has to take emergency jurisdiction over this child so that they can even be treated.
But
you can't just treat people just laying on the street. If it's a child, they need to have someone's signature. Someone has to have authority of the child. The mom is dead in the hospital room. She can't say it's okay to treat the child.
What?
You can't just randomly treat children.
Yeah, you can.
The mother, who's in control of the child at that point when they come into the hospital?
If a child
bet me $5 I'm wrong about this.
If a child comes in unconscious with no parent around, we would be sued royally up our butt if we didn't treat the child because nobody signed.
That's why CPS is right there waiting, and they take control of the child.
No.
Someone has to authorize.
No.
Okay.
That's even so in California as well. If a child is health-wise is in danger, the hospital has to take care of it.
Yeah.
Right, but someone has to be that person's overseer.
No.
Okay.
We don't let people die waiting for a signature.
Mm-hmm.
And CPS isn't stationed in the hospital, maybe sometimes in children's hospitals, but not regular.
Okay, so here's the question. Why did they do it then?
I don't think they were right. That's why.
Who called them?
Well, we have to call because of the accident.
Okay, so why would you call if it's an accident?
No. We have to call because.
No, why would you call?
We don't have to call we don't make removal decisions.
So their only decision was to remove, because what are you going to do? Leave the kid with the mom?
Okay, so Darren, say that this wasn't abuse related. Say that the mom was completely
But
sober.
it is abuse. It is abuse. We can't say it isn't. We're saying the kid was involved in a drunk driving accident with the mother that put the mother out of commission. Now that leaves a child that was in a bad situation in the hospital without a mom. Okay, grandma comes in. The hospital doesn't know who grandma is. The police department doesn't know who grandma is. So Child Protective Services now comes in and acts as a mediator until everything can be cleared out. Because as of this point, nobody knows who anybody is because mom is incapacitated. And you've already
Okay.
said the hospital can't do these things. So who would be responsible for that child then if you're saying CPS doesn't come and do that?
Okay.
Because you're
So-
telling me as a hospital person, I could just walk in and say, hey, I'm that lady that's incapacitated there. I'm her boyfriend's dad, so I can just take this baby now.
Okay. So explain this then. If a parent comes in that was completely sober, following all traffic rules, and was struck by another car at 60 miles an hour and had a kid in the car, and the parents are incapacitated now because they're injured, then what happens to the children? You're saying CPS should take them away from their biological next of kin relatives?
Maybe they're not taken away, but maybe CPS does step in and reserve the children and take care of them and handle them until someone is called next. It's all about their protocols. They didn't necessarily have to take them away in that situation. That's just bad shit happening to someone. So in that case, all that happens is CPS comes in. They say, hey, like little Johnny, we put you in a place for an overnight because we need to find the home for you. And that's what they do. I've seen this. I know that would be the case too. There's no reason for them to remove those children. They just need to find someone in the next home. This is clear-cut case of injury, imminent danger, all of those situations. These people have no idea. So they need to go and do this. And what they do know is the mother has been found drunk, and drunk driving with a child in the car is a clear indicator of imminent danger for a child. So by their
the
rules,
child's not in imminent danger if there's a safe relative. That's not imminent danger anymore.
She's already crashed and got hurt.
There's a safe relative that showed up to the hospital. That's not imminent danger.
And tell me who in that hospital is going to sign for this grandma that nobody knows to give a kid to? Who's going to say, go ahead and take that kid? Because the mom can't tell you who she is.
Well, no, that's not true, because a cousin was in the vehicle too that gave the grandparents information that they knew to call the grandparent. So they know exactly who she is.
They do?
Mm-hmm.
So when a cousin's in and out of all this stuff, you're telling me that if you work at the hospital or you do work at the hospital, that you would just take a cousin that's going in and out of consciousness word saying that this person over here is grandma, so you can go ahead and take that child and go ahead and leave the hospital with her.
They gave grandmother's information. We're not in the business of taking kids from parents until they prove who they are.
So you're telling me that the hospital would take responsibility. The hospital would take responsibility for that.
Well, we're not in the business of kidnapping kids till someone can prove.
That's not kidnapping. That's preventative measures when something bad happens to have a child handled. They're not saying they're taking the kid forever. They're saying, whoa, until the smoke clears, we've got a dying mom in a hospital room. We don't know what's going on with this kid or what's true. We got to run background checks. So we have to do things.
What proof do you want? Like fingerprints, DNA? What are you looking for?
Whatever proof they look for. I'm sure, like I said, did these people, if they had a POA in place, guess what? This wouldn't be an issue. If they had the documents in the car that they should, being a parent, this wouldn't be an issue. Because you would know where that kid is supposed to go. You would know where the kid is supposed to be treated. They didn't. They clearly did not have their ducks lined in a row. So now they're going to have to go through the procedures until this can be settled. My opinion.
Gotcha. You're entitled to your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
How you doing, Miss G?
But I am looking that up.
You okay there, Miss G?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. But I see where you're coming from with this, because that's how they operate in California as well. They, even homeless people, if somebody brought a homeless person in and they're unconscious, for example, they will have to take care of them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But also, they're not going to continue service. They don't even have to take care of them. They have to get them to a stable position. That's it. But then they don't go any further. No one signs for further stuff. As long as they're stable, they're all set, and they'll kick them out of the hospital if no one's there to remedy it. That's it.
That's not true.
That's not true, Darren.
We don't.
My brother's the head DO of a big hospital up in this state. We talk about these things all the time.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time.
No.
You know what?
The hospital.
I'm going to tell you guys a true story, okay? I volunteer in the shelters, and I do this twice a month, and sometimes once a month, depending on my schedule. and one of the shelter members, they had a seizure. Okay, we called 911. They came and picked her up. Went to California Hospital in downtown, and 3 days later, she was still there, and she didn't have money. She didn't have a job. She didn't have anything, and they took really good care of her, and they fed her, and they took care of her. And then once she was ready to leave the hospital, she was able to go home. I mean,
Yeah,
not home, go back to the shelter. She actually called me to pick her up.
there's
So
She probably had state insurance.
there's a duty of care. There's a duty of care, and not only that, but we have to ensure a safe discharge plan too. So if the discharge plan isn't safe, we can also get in trouble because you have a duty of care too.
Well,
she didn't have,
who signs the
didn't have,
discharge plans? Who signs the discharge plans of a minor?
So the next of kin or the family members.
Which
You
is
can't.
who?
anybody
can't
that's
hold
a
someone-
family member, anyone
But
that's
the
a
thing
family
is,
member.
no one knows who it is, and no one's been alive that had authorization of this kid to say who it was. You have a grandma in a hospital saying that she's grandma. That's it. You have no other, and a lady that's passing out from being in the car accident saying that that's grandma. You're going to think that you're going to trust just some lady. Their bum can be off the street saying, I'm grandpa, the dying girl over there that can't talk. I'm the grandfather. I'll take the kid.
But how
You're
would she
kidding
know
me?
her daughter's in the hospital if they did not contact the next of kin?
Oh my freaking God. I can't, I'm not going to win on this, so it doesn't matter. Move along. But this is what emergency order said. A state which does not otherwise have jurisdiction may enter a temporary emergency order if the child is in danger and needs immediate protection. After issuing such an order, the state court should determine if there is an existing custody order from another state in effect. If there is an existing order, the emergency court must allow a reasonable time period for the parties to return to the state having jurisdiction and argue the issues to the court with jurisdiction. If there is no previous child custody order in existence, which we don't have here, the emergency court's order will remain in effect until a determination is made in a court having home state jurisdiction over the child. If no
Emergency
determination
court
is made,
order.
the emergency, which is the court in your state that sent CPS to go and get the child.
No.
Emergency court state becomes the home state of the child. The emergency order becomes a final determination of custody.
So we know, Misty, that Darren probably would agree that when a mother died and a pedophile took custody of his victims, absent a court order, used her death as an opportunity to take his victims, the court and CPS were in error by leaving the children in the custody of the stranger pedophile and refused to give custody of the children back to their natural father.
You're right. So that's why they're trying not to make these mistakes
but how do you
again.
know that's the natural father?
The natural father, because he did have joint custody. So the natural father lived in another state.
So they had a custody order. There's nothing you can do about that. You can't investigate. If you had a custody order, it already says, thank you, that's your kid. Take it. Sorry that your pedophile man is a bad mistake that you made. But you know what? That's what we're rolling.
Not what happened, Darren.
That's not.
No.
That doesn't even sound right, Darren. Listen to yourself for just for a minute. You're just sitting okay for a father who's a pedophile.
No.
I'm
A stranger who was a pedophile took the kids when the mom died into his house, and the natural father said, I'm coming to get my kids, and the court said no, because the pedophile stranger had an application in court to get custody of his victims.
There you go. That's exactly why they don't let people just come in the hospital and say they're grandma. You just answered your own question.
But the pedophile wasn't saying he was grandma. The pedophile was honest about the fact that he wasn't.
You know what? Yellow,
parent.
red, whatever. The fact is, a stranger walked into the hospital and took a
No, he didn't walk into the hospital. He took him from the mother's house.
Okay, so he took him from the mother's house. It's all then. That's irrelevant. Even a question. That's not even a question that remotely suits this situation. What I'm saying is this: the hospital.
Can we calm down? Can Darren?
Well, pedophiles are wrong. Period.
Take a breather, so we can understand.
No,
you're talking too fast. And you're so. Yeah, just calm. Let's all calm down. Just calm down.
Look at this. See, my ears aren't even purple. That's a sign. There's my indicator. You know that. Look at that. White as can be. I'm not even angry. I'm not angry about this at all. So we don't have to calm down. What I'm saying is this: the mother. I'll make it very slow for you, very much because you're right. I do talk fast. The mother is incapacitated, right? She's out. We can't do anything about her. Somehow, some way, we find out that grandma is notified, but we don't know how she shows up or whatever. Now, she just said that there was other cases of strangers taking kids. So in this case, the state has already taken the baby away in an ambulance, had to figure out what the heck to do with the baby because the mother is incapacitated. So they probably called social services right away. To be frank, that's probably their first move. Think about it. If police come to your house and something goes on, first thing they do, call social services, tell them that we have a child with an incapacitated mother. That's probably exactly what happens.
But let me, if I may say something.
Mm-hmm.
The job of the doctors or nurses and the police officers is to report anything when children are involved. Now,
We
Right.
have to.
the job of the social workers is to actually do their due diligence
Mm-hmm.
and do the right thing
Mm-hmm.
and make sure that baby is safe with a family member.
Mm-hmm.
But what do? They do the opposite of the right thing, and they put the children or the child in a custody of a foster home who
Mm-hmm.
is a stranger who wants to adopt, and that baby is a toddler, will not know
Right.
his parents, and they
Mm-hmm.
will forget their parents because they're not, they don't know. They're gonna
Right.
forget. So they put them in an
Mm-hmm.
adoptive home. That's what they do. So the
Right.
job falls on the social workers to do the right thing. They
Correct.
don't do
100%.
the right thing.
Right.
They don't do the right thing. And we all know, doesn't matter what state or county you're in, they don't do the right thing. Now, the blame is always going to be on the social workers because they're corrupt, they're demonic, they're possessed by Satan and his little monkeys. So, with all that being said, the only blame should be on them,
Mm-hmm.
not on the nurses, not on the doctors, not on the police officers or the sheriff department, because they're just following protocol. But
Mm-hmm.
CPS is not following protocol because CPS can lie and get away with it. Just they're sociopathic, sadistic.
So I'll tell you.
individual.
I'll tell you how I think that they did what they did. They convinced the grandmother to comply, and so she agreed. That's how they did what they did.
That's your assumption, or that's what you think, or that's what happened.
That's pretty much what happened.
So then blame it on the grandma. Grandma clearly didn't want to take the kid.
No, that's not the truth at all. Grandma wants the kid, but grandma thought this is what she has to do.
Thought what did they do? So you're saying that the state told her, the grandma, that if she doesn't sign this, then the kid's going to be taken away forever.
I'm sure the grandmother was under the impression that this is the procedure and this is how it has to go. And that she said she welcomes any investigation because she's sure that everything will be okay and she can get the kids.
See something now. This is a piece of things that you left out, first of all, and now this is something fishy about this because now all of a sudden the grandma is involved and she's giving this to the case to them. How
But
does
she
that work?
didn't, because people don't know, because they're not attorneys, they don't know the law, and they're just listening to what CPS tells them has to happen, and then they agree.
I mean, there doesn't really need to be much of an investigation. The mom is dead from a drunk driving car accident. So, I mean,
Well, she's
clearly,
not dead.
incapacitated. But so clearly there was a situation that took place. And clearly that child was not safe for that woman. So now here
But
comes
the
grandma.
child
So
is safe for
I
the
guess,
grandmother.
but at this point, see, again, this is where it gets fishy, right? Because now they already took custody of that child, according to what the
But they don't have
UCCJE,
jurisdiction
they do. It was an emergency situation.
without a
It
court
says it
order.
right. It says right in the UCC, Universal Commercial Custody. Look at it yourself with the emergency orders. I just read it to you. The cops probably called immediately and said, "We have a child. The mother is incapacitated. What do we do? Call social services." Social services probably called up. All they have to do is say, "Judge, we have a kid that his mother is dying, and we need to do something with this child immediately." And the judge said, "Here you go, roll with it." And they rubber stamp those things, and off to the hospital they go. I mean, that it's that simple. It's disgusting that it is that simple. But see, this is a situation where if that is the case, then the system worked the way it was supposed to. That little kid went without a breath of being, at a moment of trauma, was taken care of. And this, hopefully the grandma gets him back in the next day just for them to run background checks or whatever. Hopefully that caseworker brought him to a hotel and, ate pizza with him or whatever, did something nice. Because Miss G's right, it's on the caseworker for this stuff. But see, we can't have it both ways. We can't have a system that we bitch about when it doesn't work and we bitch about it when it does work. You know what I mean? Like, how much more responsibilities can you put on these people? Yes, they steal kids. Damn right they do. They stole mine. They stole millions of others. That's no secret. That's no nothing. But what do you do in this situation? They have checks and balances in place and procedures for these situations. That's how they come up with these UCC, JEA things. That's why at the hospitals, you guys have procedures for everything that you do. See, these are already put into place. So you can't complain about a procedure that's been put into place to protect the child. You can't. Now it's unfortunate if they try to whisk it away and steal it and all of that. Yes, that's BS. Absolutely. Agreed. 100%. But if this is all done right and properly, kudos to CPS for stepping in and doing their job the way that they were supposed to.
I don't think that's the way they were supposed to.
Mm-mm. They're not supposed to do that.
What are they not supposed to do? Make sure a child's safe? Come on, guys. You got to get out of the
They have no
demon. They're all
proof that
terrible. The proof is
grandmother
the
is
kid just got trashed. It's not about the grandmother yet. She has to go through certain things to be approved to have that baby come, because now there is nobody with jurisdiction over that child. You can't just give a baby to the child without the mother okaying it. You can't do that. Period.
I disagree.
Because anybody could go in and now get that baby. You need to be able to prove. Why do you think they make incapacitated POAs? Why do you think they do that? What's the purpose of those? Because if you become incapacitated, your kids are taken care of, and there's a clear line of who gets custody of that, so there cannot be issues such as this. Because right now, no one is in control of that child. Yeah, grandma shows up. Who the hell is grandma? Who knows? She could be Joe Bob Dick that listens to a scanner and walk in that hospital and say, that's my daughter's kid, and that's it. It's very simple. These con artists and these scam artists are very crafty.
Well,
I mean, the
Darren,
best in the world, some of them are.
I think you just made a case for every single parent that ever gets in a car accident with a child in the car, for everyone to kidnap their kids until they figure out with DNA evidence or whatever that you're looking for.
You thinking it's okay for the grandma just to come in the hospital, say I'm grandma, and take the baby is what causes that. That's exactly because now everybody can walk into the hospital and say, I am grandma. Here I am. No one's going to check on her. How would they have knowledge no one's going to do in the hospital? Oh my God, dang.
And the hospital's the one that contacted her.
Do you have a scanner? Do you know what a scanner is?
I would think that CPS is more of a stranger than any person walking into the hospital.
Listen, I can turn the scanner on right now, and I can hear every person that gets arrested. I can hear their names when they're going to the hospital. I can find out where their locations are if they're in law enforcement vehicles or ambulances. I can do all of these. How do you think the news follows around people? How do you think they do that? We have scanners. We have computers. We have online system that people hack. So don't say that. How did grandma know that the kid was in the hospital? Because there's a million and one ways to find out.
We called her.
Do you have a picture? Did you have a picture of grandma?
Yeah, I think
of grandma.
You're making a case for people to kidnap a lot of people if people get injured.
I want kids to be safe. This is absolutely the opposite. You don't even realize this. You are giving the easy access for someone to come and take the child. Let's not investigate them at all. Let's just say that it's grandma. I called grandma. So the guy that's hacking the phone lines outside goes, guys, we just got the call. Grandma's called. And the old lady from the human trafficking ring comes inside and says, hey, I'm grandma. You just called. And you say, okay, grandma, I know. We just called you. Perfect. And they take the child and gone. And then 2 hours later, here comes grandma. And she goes, hey, I'm grandma. And you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So don't you think that you should have things in check like they will do? Like they'll run the background check. They'll check your fingerprints. They're going to make sure that all the things are in place for you to be grandma and for you to be safe. That is just for the safety of the child and the respect of the parent that is no longer able to do this. I can't believe that you think it would be just okay to just say, I call grandma. It's fine. Come on in, grandma. Have you ever listened to the story Little Red Riding Hood? What happened there? Was that grandma underneath the shawl? No, it was not, was it? That was not grandma, but everybody said it was grandma. Nope, nope, sure wasn't. In they go. Those are the stories that tell us kidnappers, all of this stuff is real. So, no, it's not grandma. You can't just take the fact that they said it's grandma. No way. Absolutely not. You need to have things in check so that these things don't happen. Human trafficking is very alive and real in this country, and they have some pretty clever things that they craft up to take children
Darren,
away from people.
do you know who the biggest human traffickers are in the United
Yeah,
States?
CPS. I'm well aware of CPS. I'm well aware of who it is. But
So
what I'm
you're
telling
saying
you
that
is
all
there's
these
still.
kids should go into the human traffickers'
Oh my God,
hands?
this is nonsense. Now you're just being dumb. I'm sorry, I'm not being that rude, but I'm not going to continue this conversation saying, Darren, you said they should be in trafficking. That's just stupid.
Darren, that wasn't
No,
nice.
it is.
Darren,
I
no, she's
wasn't saying
not
that.
dumb.
No, I didn't say
No,
she was dumb. I
she
said
just,
that's being dumb. No, I'm not even. No,
no, you
she
said
said,
you're being dumb. That's what you
right,
said.
because I'm not going to sit here and say, have a woman tell me that I'm saying it's okay to human traffic. Absolutely not. Not even close to what I'm saying.
Okay, Darren, that's not what she said. She said
It
that
is exactly what
CPS
she
is
just
the
said.
biggest human trafficker. Yeah.
Right. And I said, I'm aware of that. And she said, now you're letting it known that everybody can traffic children. That's what was just said. I said, now this is, you're being dumb now
Yeah,
saying this
but
stuff.
no, you said you're being dumb. You told her you're being dumb. That's
I
not
said,
nice.
you're being dumb because whatever. I can't explain things to women. I really can't. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and keep getting chastised
She
about
wasn't
a
even
fact of
chastising you. It's communication. It's
communication
communication.
is,
It is no, not
okay.
no.
So
Stacy's not like that.
if I was asking you out of that conversation, did you gather that I was letting everybody in the world know how to steal a child out of a hospital?
I don't think she was even saying that.
That's
None of
her
us.
exact words. That was her exact
Okay.
words, Georgette.
You know, all I can tell you is I think you're misreading and you're concluding things on your own without
No,
understanding. This is
I,
this is for people's knowledge. We need to,
right,
this show is for to give people knowledge, but you're talking so
exactly.
fast and you're not listening to what
Okay,
she was trying to say. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
right. And
Um,
what there is, and what I read
you
from was
you
the thing.
refuse to understand. She's a nurse, so she does
I
this for
know
a
that.
living, and
I know
and
that.
she saves kids' lives. When she's
I
not dumb, she's
understand.
very
And kudos for her.
educated. She's
Absolutely.
very educated.
Absolutely. I applaud that. I love those people. Absolutely. But I'm not trying to give ways for people to traffic children by saying, make sure grandma gets a check done to her. That's all I'm saying. You can't just call someone up and say it's grandma and then have just this lady come into grandma. That's how human traffickers work. That's all I'm saying. All I was saying is the UCCJEA has codes and things written up. Oh, Jesus, here we go. Now I'm being sexist. Michelle Croswell Robertson. How is that? That's good. So I'm being sexist now. Okay. And poor Mike. Ooh, boo. And it wasn't rude to Mike. All right. I'm out. Have a good night, Miss G.
Guys, I'm sorry. I honestly don't know what's going on. I'm just trying. Um, Stacy, if you're listening, I apologize for that. You're not dumb. You're a very intelligent woman. You earned your title. You help many families. You help um, children, especially children. And I've seen your goodness. I've seen your good heart, and I love you for that. Um, I'm sorry, Stacy. Um, um, I'm lost in words. I'm just um, um, the only advice I can give you guys right now: don't drink and drive. Don't drink and drive. If you have children, focus on your kids because this would be the outcome where you would lose your life almost and lose your children in the process. Okay. I'm sorry that you guys had to experience all this. Um, all right, whoever you are, Missy. First time Miss G is at loss of for words. You're absolutely correct. You know, true that. Because I usually know I always have something to say. But tonight I am lost in words. Um, Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Um, but what I'm trying to say, I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. He or she is right. I am first time ever. Um, and thank you, truly amazing. I appreciate this, your kind words. I appreciate that. But yes, when you have children in America, you need to be very careful. Okay, you need to try not to go partying and drinking and driving. I don't know what possessed this mother to drink and drive, unless she was drugged or unless somebody did that to her purposely. Oftentimes we hear stories of parents, behind the wheel, um, drunk. But oftentimes I've talked to a couple of police officers in LA County, and they said sometimes they go to a party and they get something in their drinks, right? Or somebody puts something in there. Believe it or not, there's a lot of demons out there. They will give you a straight face while behind your back they're trying to sabotage you. And that could be the case. Again, but CPS we say should, do their due diligence, like their book says, to do the right thing and place the baby or the children with family members. Okay, it's very easy to prove a family member. Oftentimes, when the mother is in the hospital, um, in a coma, and say the baby is there, oftentimes the police will notify the relatives. That mother would know, that grandmother will know her daughter's in the hospital. She has her ID. She has pictures of the baby, for example. Like I know a grandmother, she has like 75,000 pictures on her iPhone 14, for example, of her grandchild. There's so many ways to show like holiday pictures on the phone, anything, and then drive you, like I said, drive a license. And oftentimes grandparents carry the copy of the child's birth certificate or something. But again, CPS is supposed to do their due diligence to place the children with family, not in an adoptive foster home. And they know that that's a toddler, and that toddler can easily be adopted instantly. And basically, that's how it goes. So they're not doing their job. We should not blame we shouldn't even blame the cops, because the cops are just following protocol. We shouldn't even blame the nurses because they're following protocol. But you do get those types of nurses in the hospital, especially county hospitals, for example, where they have connection with social workers. And for example, their friends, they go out drinking Friday night, et cetera, et cetera. So therefore, they report, hey, this mother is poor, she has Medi-Cal, blah, blah, blah. And, she just had a brand new baby. And I heard you the other night saying that there's a family that's looking to adopt. Something like that. It's true. This what I'm telling you, you can't make this up. So you do have demons, lurking around, working in hospitals, working in police department, working. So none of them are bad. I mean, not everybody is bad and not everybody is good. Okay, so that's just think about that for a second. Um, I've met some good cops recently. Um, Example, that undercover guy that saved me from the laundromat when I was telling you guys the story. Handsome guy, sweetheart, talked to me for hours and hours to make sure I'm okay. And today he actually talked to me like after work, and we were talking for like 45 minutes. And I asked him questions about, CPS, and I told him what I do. And he told me, he said, I would never, as a cop, when he was a cop, he would never go to a family and remove a child without a court order. That's the protocol, by the way. They have to physically look at a court order. They cannot go and remove any baby or child or a teen without a court order. They cannot even enter their home without a court order. And that's his exact words. I mean, he's becoming a good friend of mine right now. And I'm really, honestly, I feel like that happened to me to meet people like that. Okay. So just, be careful and Yes, sir, I'm lost in words. You're right. But I'm giving it a good advice. I believe in my heart that's good advice. Um, and Stasha, Stasha LeBlanc, she said, I wish I had have known this. I wish I had have known my rights. Yeah. And then she said, when you get told that child is going to be taken away on false allegations, is terrifying, and you sign to in fear. That is true. When you are intimidated, and especially when they bring an officer or two with them, they're trying to intimidate you to sign your rights to them, because what they want to do is they want to hold you. Kind of like I said, they're sociopathic, narcissistic. A narcissist wants to be in control. They want you to sign something so they can have control over you. Just like when you tell a narcissist your passion, your fear, your concerns, they will use that against you. If you have a passion about something, I'll give you an example. If you work like in a company, for example, if you work in corporate America and you have this amazing job and you're making six figures a year, right? And then a manager or a supervisor in that company is a sociopath, narcissistic person, right? If you tell that person, I love my job, I love having responsibility, I love keeping busy, all that. If he or she doesn't like you, what they do is they take away your responsibility and then end up gaslighting you to think that you're bad, you're not doing your job. But in reality, they want to have control over you. So they take away your passion that you love to do to get a reaction out of you. So you can go complain, you can go do this and do that. And that's what they want. Same thing with the social workers. They know that your passion is your child or your children. So they use that passion against you and destroy you in the process. There's a family that I got to know, and I love them so much. It's a grandparents, grandfather and grandmother. They're still married, beautiful, beautiful people, and they're in another state, in the state of Nevada, and they destroyed that family. They literally destroyed that family. They have nothing against them. So now, at the last court hearing, they had to use their son, I think 16 or 17-year-old son, who sits in the room. All he does is be on his computer. Like every teenager. Show me one teenager that's not in front of their computer constantly, right? Anyways, so they have to come up with an excuse, any excuse to get away with it. So their only excuse is they went from the grandmother being the person, the bad one. They said, "Oh yeah, the child said, uh, you know, Eric, my cousin or whatever," and he doesn't even know. The child doesn't even know. The child is so young. The children are so young. They didn't even know that something about something that was bad, which is not true because that topic never came up. Never came up. So they don't record the children. They don't, you know, it's crazy how they do that. So again, it's devastating. And we have another couple that I talked to where the husband never did drugs, the wife never done drugs, and now they're looking for drugs to keep them sedated because they lost their 18 months old. I mean, even if you don't do drugs, it's like people look for drugs now to keep them from suffering that loss, that pain. So yes, they will do anything in their power to remove you or to discredit you or to make you commit suicide. And a narcissist doesn't care. They don't care if you die. They don't care if you kill yourself slowly. They don't care because when they eliminate you, that's it, it's over. They're done with you. So everything else that follows, they don't care. Because they will humiliate you, they will embarrass you in front of your friends, your family, you know, on social media, and they will get the satisfaction of that. They get satisfied. They get actually happy, and like they did something powerful that day. And that's how they operate. Um, Sasha said, there was somebody that said, I have a question. Jason, you're more than welcome to ask me a question. You can go ahead and write your question. Sasha said they shouldn't be allowed to do this on a malicious allegation that is unproven. That is correct. So oftentimes you hear people say, or attorneys say, you have more rights as a criminal than you do as a parent. I finished earlier. Earlier, I said to Stacy, I'm so sorry, Stacy. I keep thinking about you. Earlier, I was saying that if you have a criminal case, it can be dismissed. But if you have a custody case, for example, say you have full custody of your children or child, and say the father or the ex-husband made allegations against you, and it went from family court to juvenile court. Juvenile court is always going to believe the abuser, 100%. At the time, you're going to think to yourself, you're the only one they're doing this to. They're retaliating against you purposely, but they're not, because all they want is to win and money. That's all they care about is money. And they look at your children as merchandises that sell. So guess what? They're going to get their money. But destroying you in the process, that's their goal. Because if you're not destroyed, you're going to go after them. And unfortunately, they usually they try to destroy the good ones. And that's anywhere. They try to destroy the good ones. That's why a demonic possessed person sees the light in you and they want to dim that light, because demons don't like the light. They like darkness. And that's why the cycle repeats, because they enjoy doing this to everyone. Well, that person had light inside him or her. They destroyed that light. And now that person became dark. And that's their goal. And that's why I tell you guys, be ready. Do not allow them to go after you. To destroy your character, your integrity. Because not everyone has integrity out there. Integrity is so important. So with that being said, be mindful and be aware of your enemy. Jason said, at 7:45 p.m. this evening, I received a phone call from a lady who only identified herself as from and said she was an admin. When I asked what the call was about, she said that Brenda Higuera, our social worker from social services, made a referral on October 13, 2023, requesting that I participate in 17 sessions at one session a week, which is a total of 4 months and 1 week. When I asked what the referral was for, she said it's for individuals. What? And said it was court ordered? Hmm. Um, okay. But Jason, I think you and I talked already, if that's the same Jason. Yeah, I think you and I talked already. I want to discuss that with you, God willing, tomorrow, if I'm not dead tonight. Um, Tomorrow I would like to discuss that with you. So if you like, I usually start work at 6:30 in the morning. If you like, you can go ahead and text me to call you if you're up, and I will definitely give you a call so I can understand a little bit about your question, or what you're trying to say. Because sometimes when you guys are sending messages like that back to back, I'm missing something and I'm not understanding it fully. Um, I told you guys before that social workers make referrals, and I told you guys before that the two ladies that I talked to used to work for the department and they resigned. And the reason they resigned is because they've seen the corruption. Now, the ones that choose to stay are the ones that's already corrupt and they enjoy seeing people in pain. And they inflict pain purposely. They inflict pain because they enjoy it. They love it. Okay? Um, Jason, I'm going to go ahead and put my number for you and everyone else that is trying to get a hold of me. Okay? Hold on. Miss G. Okay, I just posted my work cell number. You guys can always text me. When you do attempt to call me and I'm on the phone, I won't be able to answer your call. So it's best for you to text me and say, Miss G, this is, Nora Hernandez, please call me or something like that, and I will call you. And I usually 100% of the time text you back. So, uh, and let you know if I'm on the phone or that I'm going to call you back or whatever the situation may be. But this is the number. You can use it. That's fine. And if you guys want to text me something to look at, you're more than welcome to do it. If it's a big document, then I suggest you, Jason, are you calling me now, young man? And you know I'm on the phone, dude. Seriously. Just go ahead and text me, Jason. So that way, I know it's you. Yeah, you called me. You're so funny. I got you. My bad. I got your text message, Jason. Oh, good. I love that. My bad. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and, if you're up, might as well call you right now, right after the show. The show is over. Thank you guys for joining, and thank you guys for understanding. And I'm so sorry again about what happened earlier. I apologize from the depths of my heart. Anyways, if you guys need me, don't hesitate to text me, and I'm gonna be up for a while. Okay. God bless you, and have a beautiful evening, guys. And don't forget to pray.